So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, thou shalt hear the word of my mouth, and warn them from me.
Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Middle Tennessee and examining current events from a biblical perspective, this is Bible News Radio with your hosts, Randall and Stacy Harp.
All right, hey everybody. I want to welcome you to today's episode of Bible News Radio, people. It is Monday. I don't know about you, but I love Monday. You know why? Because I get to go play pickleball and I get to come back and say hello, people all over the world. So glad that you're here. I'm not Garfield's owner, just so you know. Anyway.
Why would you say that?
Because Garfield hates Mondays.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, the cat.
Yeah, I know.
That eats lasagna.
Yeah, I got you.
All right. Hi, Diane. Hi, everybody coming in. Lorenzo, Dr. John, Melanie, Stephen, Paul. Thank you guys for sharing this out. I appreciate it. And, you know, I really appreciate you being on time. You know, that makes me feel good. Also, I'm going to say hi to other people on Facebook, but first I have to share it out over here on Facebook. So as you know, we take this first couple of minutes to kind of connect with people the way that we do. Oops, I can't do that. My bad. I'm using the audio on my computer. Connect with you. Okay, hold on a second. Now I gotta mute that. There we go. It's funny. If you only knew what we did, you'd be like, oh my gosh, how's that possible? All right, I have an itchy nose, and I have two scriptures today that we're going to look at. Okay? So, oops, stop that. All right. Also, if you're on Facebook on the replay, you can hit replay, and you can say, hey, I'm on the replay, and then you can leave comments too. And some of you guys, like always, you will let me know that you couldn't get here live, and it's really cool. It touches me. Warms the cockles of my heart. Yeah, it does. Okay. Okay, alright. Alright, well, I have a confession to make. Today I did it. You're gonna laugh when you hear this. So you guys know how I love pickleball, right? Yeah, you do. Pickleball rocks. So I got up, I went to play pickleball, I wore my Do Good, well actually I stole Randall's Do Good Stuff shirt. Joel Comm would be proud that I stole my husband's Do Good Stuff shirt. The irony of it all. Uh-huh. Yeah, the irony of it all. Anyway, so I get there, and of course the first thing that happens is people start saying, do good stuff. Are you doing good stuff? I'm like, yeah, I always do good stuff. And I'm playing my friend, JR. Mr. JR. And the game, first it was like they were like, I think they were like 8 ahead of us, something like that, me and my partner. Next thing you know, we catch up. And then we surpass them, me and my partner surpassed them by like 1 point. So it was going like 10, 10, 11, 11. I think it actually only went up to 10 though. Then it was 11. And you need to win by 2. So JR hit the ball. And in perfect Stacy Harp fashion, I go and I caught it at the very end. Instead of hitting the stupid thing, I caught it. Which is why when people catch the ball, they call it the Stacy. And anyway, and of course JR laughed. He busted up laughing. He was laughing so hard, his face turned red. He almost started to cry because it was so funny to him. Because it was a perfectly easy shot to hit. And me, for some reason, I just had to catch it.
And were you fined for that?
No, but the game
I
ended.
thought that was the new rule.
We were in overtime, and I lost the game for me and my partner. That's why it was funny.
I thought the new rule was they were going to fine you. You had to pay $1 every time you caught it or
Well,
something like that.
I thought about that, but then I thought, I'm going to actually be out of a job and run out of money if I stick to that. So I was like, whatever. So anyway, okay, so here's the thing. Uber has a problem with vomit fraud, okay? I'm just going to jump into this story. We got a whole bunch of news today. We're going to look at some pro-life news coming out. I'm going to get you guys to give me some action, and we're going to call Congress together. Yeah, we are. And we're going to talk about the persecuted prisoner there in Turkey as well, Pastor Andrew Brunson. But let's talk about Uber. Yeah, because they have a vomit problem, just so you know. Actually, you guys, I, as you know, okay, I have to turn my mic down. It's a little bit too loud. Maybe it's my headset. Maybe you can turn my headset down a little bit. Anyway, so you guys know I am a Legal Shield advocate, right? All right, and so I've been tracking identity theft news and just fraud stories, right? Because people are evil. Let's just say it, man. The Bible says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Well, yeah, just so you know, you were born a sinner. You're evil. Unless you become a Christian, then you're good after that. But you still have a tendency to sin, but whatever. So the ways people come up with fraud blow me away. I mean, seriously. So this article over on the MiamiHerald.com, and just so you know, Miami, Florida, and Florida in general tends to have a higher crime rate with greed and fraud. And I only say this based on that TV show American Greed, because they're always highlighting people from Florida. True story, right? True story. And I see Dr. Adam Nally watching too. Hey, Doc. So check this out. This story, it says here, it's called Vomit Fraud. And it could make your Uber trip really expensive. I'm just going to read it in part. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Well, I might. It says here, the next time you use Uber, check your bill, people. Check it. The trip could turn out to be expensive, not just for the distance, but for a type of fraud that's on the rise. It's called vomit fraud, a scam repeatedly denounced in social networks, yet still taking place around the world. And Miami, of course, that's what the author wrote, is a common spot. What is it? Passengers request Uber cars which deliver them to their destination. So far, so good. That works. But as soon as the passenger receives a note from Uber reporting an, quote, adjustment, unquote, in the bill, and an extra charge that can range from $80 to $150 depending on the driver's degree of crookedness. If you think that's frustrating, you're right. But the worst is still to come. The passenger, unaware of what's happening, tries to contact Uber. The only way to do that is through the help button on the company's app or internet page. The first reply usually goes something like this. I understand that this can be disconcerting to receive adjustments to the tariff after your trip ended. In this case, your driver notified us that during your trip, there was an incident in the vehicle and therefore a cleanup fee of $150 was added. $150. The message is accompanied by photos of the alleged incident, vomit in the vehicle. The marketer in me says hashtag vomit in the vehicle. The Uber driver had sent the images to the company, which considered them sufficient evidence to add the cleanup charge to the bill. Uber policy is to charge $80 if a passenger vomits or spills a drink on the seats. I'm sorry. Hold on just a second. Does anybody else find it a little bit funny that Uber has a policy about vomit in the first place? I mean,
No.
Just saying, I just think it's kind of funny. Do airlines have a policy? Like, if you get on an airline, do they have a policy? If you vomit, then all of a sudden you have to, pay a cleanup fee because you used the barf bag on the airline? I mean, I don't know. I just kind of think it's not too often people vomit in vehicles. No, I'm just kidding.
Which is why it's an upcharge.
I think it's funny. But anyway, it's clearly somebody who's familiar with vomit that came up with the idea. But anyway, it says here.
I'm sure it happens. And so,
But they put it, okay, they say this,
Anyway.
the Uber policy is to charge $80 if a passenger vomits or spills a drink on the seats or any surface difficult to clean. But the charge can increase to $150 in cases of significant quantities of body fluids, urine, blood, or vomit in the interior of the vehicle. Uber says extra fees compensate the drivers for the time and money they spend cleaning up their vehicles. Uber told El Nuevo Herald that it is actively looking into reports where fraud may be detected and will take appropriate actions on those accounts. The company added it did not have specific numbers on fraud cases, but that, quote, the vast majority of cleaning fee reports are legitimately the result of someone making a mess in the car. In the instances where we find a confirmed case of fraud, we take appropriate action. With 15 million trips a day, Uber is unfortunately not immune to these type of incidents. You get the pun on immune, huh? Let it sink in, people. So what happens if there was never any vomit? Some passengers have to send 3 or 4 emails to resolve their complaints. They must tell Uber that there was no incident and then wait for the company to investigate, and if it agrees, reimburse their money. Several victims told El Nuevo Herald about their vomit fraud cases. I'm sorry, it's just too funny. It's sad that there's scoundrels out there that are just so, like, scoundrelly, you know? Anyway, I requested an Uber from Wynwood to the Edgewater area. At one point, the driver told me a road was closed and that he could drop me off near my destination to avoid an extra charge. I agreed and got off. Miami resident Andrea Perez said about one trip last year. But the next day, Uber emailed her a bill with an additional $98 cleanup charge. It included a photo of vomit on the seat of the SUV she had used. I immediately contacted Uber through the app, told them that I was alone, sober, and that I was not carrying any drinks and that it was impossible for me to have caused that damage. She said, but every new email from Uber came from a different representative and always favored the driver. Despite several email exchanges, Uber never agreed to reimburse her the extra money, but she disputed the charge with her credit card company and got her $98 back. Uber then canceled her account. Okay, so what does that tell you right there? Somebody legitimately disputes something. The credit card actually comes to their defense, as they should, right? Because it's a fraudulent charge. And then Uber gets mad and cancels a customer's account. This is a job for Legal Shield. I know Melanie just put that in the chat. But that's why I brought this up. Because just think this for a second. What if this was you? Right? I mean, do we want to walk around as people like, oh, I'm going to get an Uber because, you know, I just flew into Nashville. My car's at my house. I'm going to get an Uber home. What am I going to do? Take a picture of the whole car? Hey, guy, just so you know, not only do I have Legal Shield, but I'm going to be recording this whole car right now. I'm time stamping it. You're going to be in the picture and all this. And if I get some fraud charge, just so you know, my butt is covered. I mean, do we have to walk around that way? Seriously. I mean, should we? It seems that it's almost like we have to cover our butts, you know, if that's the case. But if you have Legal Shield, you'll be able to talk to a lawyer about it, and they'll go to your defense. They'll write a letter and all that. And then, you know, I mean, what's she going to do? Say, well, forget you, Uber. I'm going to go to Lyft. Guess what? Lyft probably has the same problem. It just hasn't made the news. Listen to this. William Kennedy, another Miami resident, said he was a victim of vomit fraud. Twice on the same night, apparently. Kennedy took one Uber from Midtown to the SLS Hotel on Brinkle Avenue and another later from the SLS to a club in Wynwood. Neither trip cost more than $20, he said. But the next day, Uber sent him an email notifying him that it had added $250 charges to his bill because he had vomited in both vehicles. It was a total fraud by two different drivers. They have everything planned for the fraud, Kennedy said. Kennedy tried to explain to Uber that he was a victim of two frauds, but it took numerous emails to persuade the company to agree to cancel the charges and reimburse $300 to his credit card. What a headache! Vomit fraud is not the only way that some Uber drivers are cheating customers. Some drivers never pick up the passenger but then charge for the trip. Some combine frauds and report incidents of vomit and trips and never took place. That's what happened to an El Nuevo Herald journalist who called an Uber ride to the airport. The driver never showed up, so she canceled that request, asked for another. When she checked her email the next day, she learned Uber had charged her $16 for the trip that never took place, $6 for canceling it, and a $150 cleanup fee. When she complained, Uber sent her an email saying the driver reported an incident during the trip and attached 2 photos of the supposed vomit in a car seat. The journalist sent Uber cell phone screenshots of the canceled trip, plus the name of the driver and license plate number of the vehicle that did take her to the airport. After 4 emails to Uber, the company agreed with the appeal. But why should we have to do this in the first place? That's the point. I have taken the time to review this trip, and I see that it was an uncomfortable experience because the driver started the trip without you in the car. Which should not happen. Wait, hold on. wait, I'm over here. We also reimburse the value of the cleaning fee to your account. Well, that's nice because I wasn't in the car. Oh my gosh. The email also said the driver who claimed the false vomit, identified only as Evaristo, had been removed from the app and no longer has access. One Uber driver who asked to remain anonymous said that she is aware of frequent use of vomit fraud and that she knows other drivers in South Florida have done it and won the disputes with passengers. That's sad. They've been doing it for a long time, she said. Many people don't review their emails or credit card statements, so the drivers wind up pocketing the $80 or $150. Miami police say this type of fraud is difficult to consider as a crime and that any complaints are a matter between the passengers, Uber, and its drivers. That's why you need Legal Shield, people. If neither Uber nor the credit card issuers agree to reimburse the victims of fraud in Miami, it's not clear if the dispute becomes an issue for the country, or the county rather, or the state. So, just saying, this is just one example. It's sad to me that, and Randall says this all the time, it's sad to me that people actually go through so much, nefarious behavior in order to defraud somebody. It's completely crazy.
Well, actually, as a former roommate said, it's amazing how much work people will do to stay lazy.
Yeah.
And rather than earning an honest wage, you'll go through all sorts of hoops to get money for free. They'll work really hard to get, illicit money when they could have just been working and earning money and not looking over their shoulder and stuff like that. I love the partial admission from the email. Just say, going back over the article. Yeah. I have taken the time to review this trip, and I see that it was an uncomfortable experience because the driver started the trip without you in the car. Did the driver end the trip with her in the car? If the driver started the trip without the passenger in the car, it's more than likely the driver ended the trip without the passenger in the car, i.e., you were never picked up. The trip never took place. The driver never took you to the airport. But they can't say that. That was your complaint. Hey, this driver never showed up, never took me to the airport. It was an uncomfortable experience because the driver started the trip without you in the car. It's like, we don't want to say that they never picked you up. That would be an admission of a fault of the driver, and that would reflect badly on Uber. We can just say that the driver started the trip without you in the car.
Yeah.
That cracks me up.
But unfortunately, people are criminals.
Yeah.
Yeah, Melanie says, how is it even a trip? I don't know. They just fell off the curb as they were trying to touch the car. I don't know. Randall and I, when we were in San Francisco at the Periscope Summit, actually the very first one we went to, that was the first time I had actually heard of Uber. And I didn't even know what the heck it was, aka taxi people, in case you don't know. But it's some poor sap using their own vehicle, picking up weird strangers that they're going to drive someplace. So
Yeah, I was on a business trip years ago before there was an Uber, and this guy, and it came up and, hey, you need a ride? And it's a business partner, and he took us down to the parking garage, and he's got this minivan, and let's get the minivan. We just said, no, thanks. Not doing it. You take credit card? He says, no, just good. No, okay, well, sorry, we can't ride.
do you have candy in that van too? Some children?
There were some toys in the back. But
They're stereotypes for a reason, right?
I,
Oh my gosh.
it's like, yeah, this is where we die. Not tonight. Not tonight, Mr. Mass Murderer.
Well, the Bible does say, and I was going to read this to you today. There's two verses I want to bring your attention to. Obviously, we have the verse at the beginning of our show to, Ephesians 4:15, which says to expose unfruitful deeds of darkness. 1 Corinthians 10:24 says, "Let no one seek his own good, but that of his neighbor," right? And you know what? I mean, we're supposed to seek our own good, but we also should seek the good of our neighbor too. And then Isaiah chapter 1, verse 17, following a big declaration from Isaiah the prophet, basically rebuking the nation of Israel. After the big rebuke in verse 17, he says, "Learn to do good, seek justice, reprove the ruthless, defend the orphan, and plead for the widow." Yeah? Okay. And then, of course, in verse 18, I'll just read that. It's, "Come now and let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins are as scarlet, they will be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they will be like wool." Right? And, it goes on. But I am going to highlight verse 17 because, last Friday we talked about, should Christians use lawyers, right? Of course, because Christians are people too, right? But here, God is telling Isaiah, through Isaiah, he's telling the nation of Israel, hey, look, learn to do good, which tells you what? That we have to learn it. We're not naturally born to do good. Do good stuff is great, but we have to be taught to do good, right? Seek justice, which tells you what? Though we don't normally seek it out, we have to seek justice. Reprove the ruthless, rebuke the ruthless, right? And yeah, it seems like in our culture today, well, no, we can't do that. He might have had a bad childhood. Drives me crazy. And it says, defend the orphan and plead for the widow. There's nothing wrong with seeking justice and protecting yourself, right? There's nothing wrong with it. And yet, somehow in this culture that we live in today, it's almost like if you actually try to do good stuff, and you call out an evildoer, you're like the bad guy. It's like, good is called evil, evil is called good. Isaiah 5:20. Bitter is sweet, and sweet is bitter. And it's like, no, actually, evildoers exist. We're here to call them out, and it's okay to protect yourself, which is why I want to give you a way to contact me. Randall, go ahead. You can put up my number on the screen there. You can keep it up for a little bit if you want. I want you guys to text me if you're not on Periscope or in Facebook or some other time during the show. If you want info directly about how you can sign up for Legal Shield, you can text me. By the way, if you're in Canada, you can actually sign up for it, just so you know. And you should get it for your business, too, because they actually have business coverage, too, which I can tell you about. But you can text me at 714-244-6890. That is my cell phone right here. This is it that I'm watching the show on. This will get a text. 714-244-6890. You guys can actually text me whenever you want. I'm giving you my number to do it. I have unlimited texting ability. Just try not to text me, creepy pictures or anything like that, because that would be really dumb. You know why? Because I have your phone number. Be like, what the heck? So yeah, go ahead and text me 714-244-6890. 6890. That's wrong. You put it in there wrong.
Oh, I did. Let's.
Is my phone number 6980? No, it's 6890. He'll fix it. Don't worry.
I'll fix it.
And now the guy who's that phone number, they're getting all these texts. Who is this person? Why are they sending me this? Yeah, 6890. You can text me. I can send you info. How you can sign up. Look, you guys, I'm not trying to make money. I'm trying to help you. I'm actually trying to do both. But honestly, I really want to help you more than anything because we live in, frankly, dark days. And it's just going to keep getting darker. And so if you can protect yourself, cost you a couple bucks a month, do it. Okay? All right. So the next story I have here. Oh, by the way, I should also say, before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and check that. Oh, yeah. Well, no, I'm going to go on to this first. There's this other story. I'm going to just read through this one really fast. Women headed to prison for motel theft and identity theft. The reason why I want to share this story with you is because of how long this woman did this, okay? It says here this is poststar.com. A Lake George woman who stole thousands of dollars from the motel where she worked using a fake name during her employment is headed to state prison for up to 7 years after guilty pleas to 2 felonies. Colleen A. Molson, who is 60 years old, people. 60! She's not a child. Pleaded guilty to grand larceny and forgery charges in connection with her June 2017 arrest for the theft of $5,700 while she worked as a clerk at King Hedrick Motel. Police said she diverted motel money to a personal PayPal online account. Molson worked at the motel under the name of Megan C. Guinness Ryan, a person whose identity she stole for years as part of a decades-long pattern of fraud around the country. That led to multiple forgery counts in addition to grand larceny. Warren County Sheriff's officers believe Molson had lived in Lake George and held a number of jobs under the Guinness Ryan name for about a decade. Now, how the heck could the person whose identity she stole not know this, right? And it says here she had prior fraud-related arrests in New York, Massachusetts, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Florida. That's what, 7? 7 states. The Warren County Sheriff's Office said she showed 45 aliases that she used and she had accumulated 3 felony convictions. So she stole 45 people's identity. Molson is scheduled to be sentenced July 25th. She faces 2 1/3 years to 7 years in state prison with a recommendation she be allowed to participate at the state's comprehensive alcohol and substance abuse treatment program. And she'll also have to make restitution. And her lawyer, Veronica Odell, didn't return a phone call for comment. And then it says here, the motel's owner discovered the theft by Molson when customers arrived with PayPal receipts for reservations, but no deposits credited to their hotel reservation accounts. Police said at least 15 victims had been identified, which means that there was a whole lot more that weren't. So I bring this story up just to let you know again. I read in another article today, $16 billion is the overwhelming fraud amount for identity theft alone. For individuals. For businesses, $200 billion bucks. Right? Go over to my Stacy Lynn Harp MS Facebook account. I actually read a little bit more about that. But this woman, I can't believe, over a decade she's getting away with this. So why is this important? Because if your identity isn't being monitored, you might not know about this stuff. So you guys gotta get ID Shield. So that's that. To me, it's completely crazy. Are you tired over there? Randall's like, oh. Just kidding. Well, not really. He was really yawning. It's okay. I was yawning yesterday. Me and Randall, we went and got one of those feet detox things that you do. You know, you go and you put your feet in water, and they put this weird water ionized thingy in there, and then you just sit there and for a half hour. And next thing you know, your water's turning really ugly colors. Blech. It made me super tired. Yeah, it did. Just like Randall is right now. Just kidding.
I'm making you really tired.
No, you're tired. You look like you're tired. Okay.
Oh, it's the other way around.
All right. So, do you have any comment on that one? That's crazy, isn't it? Over a decade, this woman got away with this stuff. Anybody else have any questions over there in Periscope? You guys are watching, I can tell. Are you enthralled with the conversation? Are you? Okay. All right. So here is the other thing we have here. Let's see. I have another article titled Federal Heartbeat Bill. Wait a minute. Okay, here it is. Okay, my friend Janet Porter over at Faith to Action, she sent me a press release, and this is what it is. It says, thanks to Congressman Michael Cloud, who is a Republican in good old Texas, we are up to 172 co-sponsors on the federal version of the pro-life heartbeat bill, H.R. 490. So here is the thing. It says here, if your congressman is not on the list, please leave a message urging him or her to co-sponsor H.R. 490, the pro-life heartbeat bill. You guys might recall, she actually has been working forever in Ohio to get this thing passed. It did pass, but of course there's always people who are evil and they don't want it to pass, blah, blah. Or they want to like put up a thing against it because of this. Well, anyway, bottom line here is that you need, if you're in Illinois, South Carolina, or California, which, you know, we know is liberal, then you guys need to make some phone calls. So a phone call to Dan Lipinski, who's a Democrat in Illinois. He's a conservative Democrat who says he's pro-life. If you're in Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, you can call 202-225-5701. I'll say that again. You can call 202-225-5701. I will also put this on the notes under our Bible News Radio on Facebook page, so you can go out and you can look at that after the show. If you're in South Carolina, Representative Mark Sanford, who is a pro-life Republican, who should be a co-sponsor, call him at 202-225-3176. That's 202-225-3176. Call him and say, hey, you know what? You need to support this bill to protect life. Because basically, the heartbeat bill is simply, if the doctor can hear the little heartbeat, then guess what? The baby can't die, right? It'll be against the law to kill the baby. And then Representative Tom McClintock, I think she spelled it wrong, Republican in California, remind him that protecting life is in the Republican platform. 202-225-2511. That's in California. If you're in California, I know some of you just came in. Sylvia, I know you're in there. Tom McClintock, call him up in California. Tell him that he needs to sign on as co-sponsor for the heartbeat bill. 202-225-2511. All right, so that is this. And again, I'll share this on my Facebook if you missed it. Because you know what, it would be super awesome, totally cool to get this bill passed everywhere, and then more babies would live, and then guess what? Children will be born, and they'll be able to take care of the old people as they get older, right? Like Randall, because he's super old now. No, I'm just kidding. He's not that old, but he's older than me. Meanwhile, New York has had a victory for life in New York, according to Liberty Counsel. It says here that U.S. District Judge Carol Bagley Ammon has denied an injunction sought by the New York Attorney General against 13 pro-life Christians who counsel women and preach the gospel on the public sidewalks outside New York's largest abortion business. Liberty Counsel represents defendant Scott Fitchett Jr., who was sued with the other defendants in June of 2017 by former New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, who wanted to shut down the Christian and pro-life speech of the defendants outside Choices Women Medical Center in Jamaica, New York. Fitchett is a pre-K teacher who has spent Saturdays peacefully sharing the gospel on public sidewalks throughout New York City, including outside choices, to persuade women to change their minds about seeking an abortion by communicating the gospel of Jesus Christ. So that's good news here, even though Scott and his friends were sued by these evildoers, even though he wasn't breaking the law. The judge in this case, U.S. District Judge Carol Bagley Ammon, basically said, nope, not going to happen. And it says here, Judge Ammon's 103-page order denying the OAG's injunction meticulously took apart the OAG's false claims of harassment and intimidation against Fitchett and other defendants. Judge Ammon found the OAG's witnesses, including 4 choices escorts, to lack credibility, and found the OAG's video evidence to fall far short of the OAG's burden of proof. At the outset of her substantial factual findings, Judge Ammon explained the most problematic of the credibility issues discussed below is the tendency for the OAG witnesses' testimony to exaggerate, and that's bolded, the impropriety of the defendant's conduct and to omit mitigating circumstances. In this regard, it is notable that despite the availability of hundreds of hours of video evidence, the OAG has not cited a single video that corroborates the witness testimony. Instead, the video evidence contradicts the escort's accounts of protester contact on specific occasions. Now, I love this because a couple weeks ago, we shared some live video of Coach Dave Daubenmire and his friends who actually went to out in front of Planned Parenthood in their area, and I think it was Iowa or Ohio? I think it was Ohio. And they were smart, man. They had everything on video. And smart activists video everything. And thank God for cell phones. Everybody can get a different angle in video because it's never, ever, ever the Christians doing the harassing. It's always those who hate the Christian message that are harassing them, which is why, thank God, this judge was righteous and actually ruled the right way. And listen to this. It goes on to say, Judge Ammon's order specifically noted that biased and unreliable testimony of the OAG's main witnesses, as well as, here we are, the exaggeration and selective destruction of evidence by clinic escort director Mary Lou Greenberg, along with her evasiveness and non-credible statements at the injunction hearing, and the fact that Greenberg's testimony at the preliminary injunction hearing frequently failed to accord with photographic, video, or other evidence of the same events. Liberty Counsel previously revealed that Greenberg is the spokesperson for the Revolutionary Communist Party, USA, that publicly advocates the violent overthrow of the United States and exposed her for the mass murder Mao Zedong in a video on C-SPAN. Communism, anti-life people. The questionable candor by escort leader Pearl Brady, who had advised her fellow witnesses in private Facebook messages discovered by Liberty Counsel how to sandbag their testimony, and how even created a fake Facebook account to spy on some defendants. Of most concern, Judge Ammon wrote, are the inconsistencies between her descriptions of protester conduct and the conduct shown in the supporting videos and photographs. Escort leader Teresa White's inability to recall events with accuracy, her admittedly faulty memory and eyesight, and her sometimes exaggerated descriptions of protester misconduct. By the way, I'm just bringing this up because we talk about the homosexual lobby all the time, but you know what? The truth is that the anti-life lobby, they do the exact same thing the gay lobby does. They lie, they intimidate, they bully, they do all this stuff, and this is why Liberty Counsel and other Christian legal organizations exist, because this, and activists, fortunately, many of them have gotten very smart and started, like I said, videotaping everything. Apparently there was a security guard, Troy Asmus, whose inability to recall certain details with specificity and his admitted exaggeration of the impropriety of protester conduct. Liberty Counsel had previously uncovered that Asmus informed A.G. Schneiderman's office before the lawsuit was filed that Fitchett never blocked, followed, harassed, or intimidated anyone outside of Choices, showing Schneiderman's entire case against Fitchett was based on a falsehood. Okay? Judge Ammon's order categorically rejected all of the AOG's claims, and that Fitchett threatened or intimidated Choices patients or interfered with their access to the faculty. To the contrary, Judge Ammon found his sole activity was to preach and hold a sign which said Christ died for sin, while standing at the edge of the sidewalk, and credited Fitchett's testimony that he preached the gospel outside of an abortion clinic against what he perceives to be an outrageous sin, which most people who believe it's a baby being murdered would agree that that would be an outrageous sin. It says here, even though the order denies only the AOG's preliminary injunction request, Judge Ammon sent a clear message to the AOG that attempting to move this case forward against Fitchett and the other defendants is a fool's errand. In effect, the trial has already been held. Where the AOG has failed to establish the violation, the AOG is neither likely to succeed on the merits of that claim nor able to establish a sufficiently serious question going to the merits of that claim. Anyway, I'm not going to read the rest because it's a little bit long, but I think you get the point. The point is that life won. We had a good judge here who actually looked at the actual evidence that was given, and the Christians that were actually doing the work that God told them to by going therefore out there and sharing the gospel and trying to rescue those who are being led to death, literally, actually, sided on the side of right. So that's good news. What do you think?
Indeed. I was thinking it was something in the realm of other types of commerce. Let's say, there's a hamburger place operating, and all of a sudden, across the street, a better restaurant opens, not serving hamburgers, but maybe they serve salads that are really good, that everybody enjoys. And so their business starts to die down. The hamburger joint isn't doing as much business, and they're not doing much to improve, their PR or anything like that. They're losing customers. So they come along and they, file suit for an injunction against the Salad Emporium for, harassing their customers and, making it difficult for customers to park in their lot and stuff like that. And, and just come with all sorts of falsehoods, to have this, competitor shut down. And bringing the line of, not restaurants or, food preferences is what's going on. Because it's, even though we're talking human life, to them it's all about the money. And these are customers coming in. And when customers see a better alternative, i.e. not kill my baby,
Right.
Maybe adopt it. And there's people that will help with the pregnancy, with the delivery and the care of the child, with all sorts of free resources and counsel. They're choosing a better option, of course, than the Choices that's only offering one choice, one option, losing customers. Then they get all upset and resort to these tactics.
Well, and it's interesting because the bully tactics, that's exactly what they are.
Yeah.
And you and I, when we went to the GLSEN conference way back in 2001, I think it was.
They're taught.
That's exactly what they're taught. I mean,
they're instructed, how to bully a school board,
yeah,
into accepting this club, and
yeah.
and
If you're new, the GLSEN means Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network. When Randall and I went in as spies, yeah, we were.
Not under assumed names, didn't steal anybody's identity,
It was
nothing
just
like
us.
that.
But when we went in, I'll never forget. I was in this one thing, and the teacher got up in front, or whoever it was, the speaker, they got up in front, and they said, now, kids, or people who are there, this is what we want to share with you. You know how every school has a fence that they put up the big signs on that, the kids paint them, this is a rally tomorrow, or whatever it is. They were actually taught to make little signs and put it up underneath it. and actually say that, and the signs were, if you ripped this sign, you committed a hate crime. And then they were also taught, they also were taught to tell people to speak truth to power. Now, if you've ever actually looked at that phrase, speak truth to power, it's really a communist tactic is ultimately what it is. And it's not real shocking that the underlying Marxism and communism that's actually tied to the very radical left is what it is, because they don't want life. They want, they want to promote death ultimately, which, and the behavior and stuff, but it's indoctrination. What better way to begin to indoctrinate than in kindergarten with homosexuality? Whatever. Yeah, you're just an innocent kid. Who cares? You're so stupid. You don't know the truth.
Well, to
You're
be
five. You're 5. They're 5 years old.
To be somewhat fair, it's not a problem with life per se, pro-death. It's a problem with a human life having intrinsic value.
Yeah, true.
They want to teach that your value is whatever the state gives you, whatever comes from the people, whatever you contribute to the culture. If you don't pull your weight, you're not valuable. And babies, they don't give anything, unless they're born of the right stock, and right in line to be some contributor. It's a well known, that they're going to give something. Well, then they deserve to live. Otherwise, it's just a drain on the machine.
Yeah.
And same with the elderly, etc. There's no in a humanistic value system, especially like communism. There's no intrinsic human value. It's whatever the democracy assigns value, whatever the majority says.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know you guys know all about Tia, right? About Tia, the lady who, in that horrible boat sinking, capsizing thing that happened. Just so you know, on purpose, I haven't made that a lead story or spent a whole lot of time covering because everybody and their grandmother is covering it. But I did watch the video of her press conference, and if you don't know about it, basically she's a lone survivor in her family. I mean, she lost her husband, I think 4 kids, and she survived. And what was fascinating to me about watching her in this press conference was, number one, she's still in shock. I mean, and this is part of our media that irritates me. It's like, is there really a reason you need to put this lady on TV? I mean, seriously. I mean, clearly she's in shock, and the shock and the grief and the horror of it all is it will probably haunt her for a very long time, But the thing that really struck me in watching all the comments on Facebook was that the overwhelming majority of people actually were trying to comfort and bless her. And God bless her, right? They were not just trying to bless her, but they were calling out to God to bless her. And she actually came and she gave God the glory, actually said her pastor came down and, and was supporting her and all that. And that was super good. But anyway, I bring this up because it kind of ties in, because a lot of people, when you look at the value of life, all of a sudden, to a family, we see the huge tragedy, and that's really like a Job story, in my opinion, what this poor lady has gone through. I mean, losing her whole family in this freak accident, really. Interestingly, the journalists and people like that who are calling out, they're asking all these questions and obviously trying to seek to put blame somewhere. Why? Going back to the issue at hand, because of justice. Everybody wants justice. Like, one of the things that was brought up in the press conference was, were you guys ever told to put on your life jackets? How come nobody was wearing a life jacket? And she actually said in the press conference that I guess it was the captain, I'm not positive, but I think it was, the captain said, oh, yeah, we have them on here, but you're not going to need them. So pray for her. I know a lot of you probably are already, but, keep her in prayer in that whole situation because, her dark days are just going to get darker, I think. And yet, at the same time, in the midst of this, there's a believer that God raised up for such time as this to kind of be a testimony to his faithfulness because, they were asking her, how can you get through this? And her only answer was God, right? I mean, heck, yeah, that would be it. You ever notice that during tragedy, nobody says, yeah, I think the devil's going to help me get through this? No, they never say that. They never say, let's call out to the devil for this. Nope. It's always God, just so you know, because he's on the throne. And as J. Vernon McGee used to say, prayer changes things. So we'll just keep praying for her. All right, we got a couple minutes left. So I should tell you guys, if you have not yet followed us on Bullhorn, it would mean a lot to us if you joined us on Get Bullhorn, on Bullhorn, the mobile app. Yeah, there was a storm. It was quite the storm. That's why the boat capsized. I mean, anyway, but if you haven't followed us on Bullhorn yet, please do, because we're really trying to help our sponsor out here. They're sponsoring us, and they want us to get more followers so that we can help launch this app. It's in beta right now, and we're putting up special content on there. I am putting this show up in audio form on there so you guys can listen to it afterwards if you missed some stuff, which you could. We say a lot. But even more so, I want you guys to use the app because I want you to stand out and be heard. And I want you to use the voice that God has given you for the message that he has for you today. So I know a lot of you are already on it with us, but if you're not yet, all you got to do is go to getbullhorn.com or your Apple or Android store, find the app, download it, follow me, Bible News Radio, follow Randall as well. And just, show our sponsor that our audience actually cares and is thankful that they have sponsored us for another couple of months. All right, so getbullhorn.com is the place to go. Also, if you have not downloaded your Ariel Ministries Bible study yet on the Ministry of the Holy Spirit this month, it's still free. You can download it. That's paid content, but they're giving it to you for free. You can download it, get the PDF of it, study it, learn about the Holy Spirit more and how the Holy Spirit works in your life. And also, don't forget, and let me also tell you this, if you are a leader or you have a good circle of influence anywhere, let them know about Ariel's discount too. Ariel Ministries gives us, this is the only discount they give anywhere for their stuff on Ariel website, ariel.org. Bible News, that coupon code saves 20%. I'm going to tell you something. If you're buying a $100 book, saving 20 bucks. Is that right?
Yes.
Is a good deal. Yeah, I'm not that good at math. But yeah, save $20 on a $100 book or a $50 book. You save whatever it is, $5 or whatever it is. I don't know. $10. Okay. I have a master's degree in clinical psychology, not algebra and math. Just so you know. But anyway, my point is, I was at church last night, and my pastor, he did a whole message out of Zechariah 12:10, which talks about how Israel's going to repent and all this other stuff. And anyway, afterwards, I was talking to my pastor's wife, and I was telling her, did you know that we have a sponsor that you could actually save money at their website and save 20% when you use the coupon code Bible News? Go to Ariel and do that. Use this, as a way to support your church by giving them a discount. And in turn, it supports us here at the show. So everybody wins in God's economy. All right. And then lastly, but certainly not least, thank you to all of you guys who do donate to us. Bible News Radio is me and Randall. That's it. We do this 5 days a week, and Randall does other Bible studies, and I actually provide other content other places. So if you want to donate, become a pillar of the community, all you got to do is go over to BibleNewsRadio.com/give, and I will send you an email with a thank you audio piece that I made just for our pillars of the community, just so you know. All right, so that's our thing. And if you guys are available tomorrow, I love you, tomorrow. You're always a day away. Okay, so tomorrow I actually have a guest. I actually forgot I had a guest last week when I mentioned, oh, I don't have any guests, but my cutie scheduling is like showed me my weekly appointments. I was like, oh, I do have a guest tomorrow. So tomorrow, you guys, I am going to be talking to the author of this book, Denise Schick. She wrote a book called It Is Well With My Soul, and you are not going to want to miss this interview. She is a therapist, a counselor, and her and her dad was a transgender individual. And I want to read this to you. It says here, people who give in to their transgender urges hurt family members and loved ones, says expert and counselor Denise Schick. These people are hurting themselves, but they are also hurting others. Schick's own father confided in her when she was 9 years old that he secretly wanted to be a woman. What the sympathetic media or the LGBTQ community won't tell you is that my many gender-confused people end up with deep regrets, says Schick. My father did. A review of more than 100 medical studies of post-operative transsexuals found no clinical evidence that gender reassignment surgery is effective. According to Schick, the number of people embracing a transgender lifestyle is growing primarily because progressive culture is drawing increasing numbers of innocent children into it. Still, the overall numbers are low, about 1 to 11,000 males and 1 to 30,000 females. What is not reported in the news is the high incidence of substance abuse, depression, and suicide in the transgender community. If you've been watching me for any length of time, you already know I had on Walt Heyer, who himself is a man who actually lived as a transgender individual. He actually had bottom surgery as well as top surgery to alter his body. He eventually became a believer. He has a website called what is it? Sex
Change Regret.
Sex Change Regret. Thank you, Randall.com. Walt's been on our show a couple times, telling the truth. Denise is the daughter of a man that did this. So, in her new book, It Is Well With My Soul, Finding God's Peace in the Transgender Storm, she recounts her own story, but also sounds a warning about accepting behaviors or lifestyles that are clearly unhealthy. He, God, longs to release every person from the bondage gender identity issues create. He also demands that we stand for the truth. She explains, for those who say, what's the harm? Schick has ready an answer. The harm is beyond quantification. It is seen in the devastation of families, relationships, and mutilated bodies and minds. Schick says one of the reasons she's seen an uptick in the transgender issues because the LGBTQ community has been pushing for its inclusion in their agenda to normalize any sexual behavior. That's so true because pedophilia, they're on their way, just so you know. At the core of the transgender soul, explains Schick, is a deeply wounded person who needs to know about God's extravagant goodness. Gender identity disorder is ravaging many souls. God makes every human being unique, but he also makes each person with the gender of his choosing, not theirs, explained Schick. In the rush to affirm a struggling and confused individuals, we often lose sight of how our misplaced compassion can cause greater damage in the long run. And I have to tell you, that is exactly right. Misplaced compassion is definitely the issue at hand. And so tomorrow we're going to talk to her about that for the whole hour. I hope you can join us. Tell your friends about the show, and share it out on your social media, and join us again tomorrow at 4:00 Central Time. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Feel free to leave me your comments. Send me email. Don't forget you can text me at 714-244-6890. And remember, be bold, people. Stand up and go with God because he loves you. And we'll see you soon. Okay? Bye.